So as anyone who's a member of the Boss F Hockey Club Patreon knows, my favourite stick of last year was the Y1 LTDX, a golden stick with an extra low bow and no groove, and the year before my favourite stick was the Adidas DF24 Kromaskin, an Adidas extra low bow stick, this time with a groove. So this stick in theory is merging my past two Stick of the Year award winners, so it has a high level of expectation going into this review. The stick I got from Adidas was 520 grams and has a balance point at 40 centimeters from the head of the stick. It has a full legal low bow, with the maximum bow point being a 24mm bow located 200mm from the head of the stick. The Kromaskin.1 is a top of the range Adidas stick with a full wrap in the Kromaskin carbon fibre that they've taken from F1 technology. The stick features Adidas epoxy composite core, which Adidas claims improves the consistency of the structure and gives an enhanced sweet spot for hitting. The stick has a somewhat muted feel when you first pick the ball up and begin dribbling around. It has a much softer first touch than I would expect, having used both the Kromaskin ChaosFury and the DF24 Kromaskin previously. Despite this softer feel on the ball, the stick plays very stiff. It's much more responsive than I first thought after spending longer with this stick. You begin to get used to the feedback the stick gives you and you begin to understand what it's telling you as you play around with it more and more. But that muted feeling can cause issues if you're used to playing with a much stiffer stick, especially the small details of the game. So there's a small delay between the ball actually hitting the face of the stick and you being able to feel that response up the stick in your hands. That small delay can mean that if you're trying to execute first touch skills or any tight dribbling in a small space, you can sometimes miscontrol the ball if you're not paying full attention. The stick has great hitting power thanks to the unique carbon setup that Adidas has utilised, featuring both Kromaskin and the spread toe carbon. The stick also has a large sweet spot, so it's very easy to get high power transfer when hitting. There is also less vibration with the softer feel stick and that epoxy core absorbing the vibrations if you ever do miss the sweet spot. It's also very easy to direct the ball left or right when hitting, but because it has that extreme low bow shape, if you don't get your hands over the top of the ball when hitting, it's very easy to lift. You can also get that same power transfer when slap passing, but you can also use the low bow to add a lot of deception and play slider passes with a lot of pace. Adidas have this year reinforced the reverse edge to give it more power transfer and durability through tomahawking. The stick has a nice thickness to the reverse edge, thick enough for consistency, not so thick that you can't get under the ball and lift it high into the goal. There is again that great power transfer on the reverse hit similar to on the open stick side, and that power is very usable and you can easily control the height of the ball thanks to that reverse edge being so thick and consistent. When you are hitting tomahawks, there's next to no vibration, so I actually found myself utilising tomahawks much more in a game than I usually would because of the power and consistency of this stick. Adidas has been working on refining this shape for several years. You can really feel that with the shape of the head combined with the bow, making it so easy to get under the ball and control your lifts. Once you get the ball lifted onto the head of the stick, you can control it easily and lift it over a stick or firing it into the top corner of the goal if you're shooting. Because of this, it's fantastic for 3D skills and it gives you a lot of confidence lifting the ball over a stick. Because of the stiffness when it comes to shooting, any power that you push through the stick will be transferred to the ball, so you have absolute confidence that the ball is going to end up where you want it to. Much like with flicking, the head shape and the low bow combine really well for throwing overhead passes. It continues with that ease to get under the ball. If you can elevate the ball onto the face of the stick and roll it into the bow, you can really utilise it to add power and distance to your overhead passes. I found that I was quite capable of dropping the ball onto the penalty spot from the halfway line consistently and accurately with this stick. Whenever I was trying to throw the ball a very long distance, my accuracy did suffer, but that's more down to technique than the stick. There is a reason this stick is so popular at Adidas' sponsored drag flickers. The touch compound is really nice for picking up the ball as it keeps it glued to the face of the stick and makes it easier to move the ball up into the shaft and into the bow. This bow is well shaped with a smooth curve that allows for great power build up in the drag. Because of the smooth curve, you get a great power transfer and you benefit of having a slightly longer drag, but this also aids with the accuracy and you have more control over the point of release. At release, the touch compound holds the ball up just enough so that you can push through with the head of the stick and fire the ball into the corner. Now this might cause a small loss in power, but it's more than worth it for the accuracy that it adds. This stick is a little bit hard to sum up. For technical skills, passing, flicking, hitting, it's got great power and a lot of control. But that muted feel means that you need to spend a good amount of time with the stick to master it for tight control and dribbling. I absolutely think there's a great stick in there. The power alone means that this is one of the hardest hitting sticks that I have ever reviewed, and with that epoxy core absorbing the vibrations, letting you swing without a second thought, even when you're training on a cold winter's night in the UK. But there is this time investment needed to adapt to that muted first touch. The touch compound does a great deal in compensating and covering for this, and when you learn how to balance the feel of the stick with that touch compound together, I think it'll give you a great deal of control over the ball. I know people who have been using this model of stick for months and claim it to be the best stick that they have ever used, and I can completely see where they're coming from. But if you were to pick the stick up, I'm sure you would love it once you got used to it. But if you were just going into a store and picking this stick up, it could be very difficult to see the potential that this stick has. Thank you very much for watching this review. As always, Adidas have provided the review sample but have not had any early access to this review and have no copy control. They're finding out my thoughts on this stick right alongside the rest of you. If you've enjoyed the review, please give it a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, support me on Patreon, and come and join my Discord. My Discord is free and you can come and ask me questions about this stick.